we got some breaking news here. Let's roll the alert. Here it is, Fox News alert. You might have thought that this was already in place. Guess again, it wasn't. The White House Chief of Staff, Jeff Zients, has sent a memo to all cabinet secretaries saying that the White House is reviewing agency protocols for a delegation of authority from cabinet members. Essentially, the White House is reviewing the protocols and policies of when a cabinet secretary is unable to carry out his or her duties. You got to tell the White House. You either got to tell the Office of Cabinet Affairs or you've got to tell the White House Chief of Staff. Let's bring in Lieutenant General Keith Kellogg, Fox News contributor, former National Security Advisor to Vice President Pence. If you had gone into the hospital when you were the Vice President's National Security Advisor and you didn't tell anybody and they were looking for you and they couldn't find you, what would have happened?
Thanks, John, for having me. Well, I would be a non-admit back into the White House grounds because I think the Secret Service would have pulled my clearance and my pass. Look, when I did go into the hospital for actually a hip replacement when I was in the White House, and I told the president that's what I was going to do. I mean, that was just me, and I think it's appropriate to do it. And I was kind of laughing about it. I said, really? I mean, this is so obvious. You're the Secretary of Defense. You're part of the National Command Authority. You've got to tell people where you're going to be. I mean, and I'm not laughing because it's funny. I'm saying, really? This is serious. It is very serious business on accountability. I mean, it's just something that is just done. So, I mean, you know, frankly, we did it all the time. It shouldn't have been a surprise to anybody. I'm just shocked they didn't do it.
This was our initial reaction when we saw this news. It happened during Blinken's speech there in Tel Aviv. The White House orders cabinet secretaries to notify when they can't perform duties after the Austin illness. We still don't know what led him into the ICU. How big of a problem is that? He's still in the hospital. Thankfully, we have been told he's been transferred out of the ICU. But you think about the actual risk as far as national security, if we don't know where our defense secretary is, what message does that send to the world, General?
Yeah, Sandra, look, my comment to everybody is somebody should use some common sense. It's sort of obvious you kind of need to do this. You need to tell people about it. Look, there's a lot of people involved in this process that are at fault. Everybody from the Secretary of Defense down through the spokesman he's got, that's General Ryder, to the chiefs of staff, to all of the agencies that were involved in this. This is really, and the reason why, Sandra, I say this is important is because if you pick one single cabinet official that is so critical of national security for the continuity of command and civilian control of the government, it's the Secretary of Defense. You cannot execute any military orders at all unless the Secretary of Defense says to. And this whole comment about, well, these things were pre-planned, any of the strikes. No, they're not. That's covered under rules of engagement. And I would challenge people, then you show me the rules of engagement that you are allowed to take preventative action. No, this is an operation that needed to be approved by the Secretary. And frankly, some of these operations went ahead, and they were on a very, very thin line of getting approval and doing it correctly.
You mentioned laughing about this, and I think, General, we're laughing about this because if we didn't laugh, we'd be crying about it. Because it just seems, I mean, it seems so obvious and that this wasn't done. But here's the kicker with all of this. In this memo to the cabinet secretaries, Jeff Zients says that the White House is conducting a review of agency protocols for a delegation of authority from cabinet members. While this review is ongoing, cabinet agencies must ensure that they adhere to the following procedures in the event that a delegation of authority is required. Notify the offices of Cabinet Affairs and White House Chief of Staff in the event of a delegation of authority or potential delegation. Meaning they haven't even nailed this down yet. They're studying it.
Yeah, you know, John, you mentioned something there that really does bother me. The fact is, if you are a cabinet official, pretty senior, you pick up the phone and you tell the President of the United States. You don't go through Cabinet Affairs. Cabinet Affairs isn't even in the West Wing. It's in the Executive Office building next door to the West Wing. And you don't tell the White House Chief of Staff. The Cabinet official does not work for the Chief of Staff. They work for the President of the United States. Call him. And that's how it's
General,
done.
I mean, we just got word a few minutes before all this, top of the 1 o'clock hour, that Fox is told through our own Chad program that the Deputy Defense Secretary, Kathleen Hicks, still doesn't even know or is unaware of the medical procedure performed on the defense secretary. And again, this could be something that, hopefully he's completely fine, and we get that to be the case. But to John's point about, okay, now let's establish a protocol. I mean, the deputy defense secretary still doesn't even know why he was in the hospital. That seems like a big deal to me. And by the way, in this memorandum to cabinet members that we just got from the White House and Jeff Zients, the White House chief of staff, okay, activate your agency's existing delegation of authority protocols. Well, you might want to tell Kathleen Hicks, because she still doesn't know what the problem is. Yeah. Thanks, General.
Thanks, General.
Thanks, Sandra. Thanks, John.
I'm Steve Ducey.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.